Hi there again. This is a 8 month update for my left eye and a 9 month update for my right eye. As you know, I had cataract surgery 8 and 9 months ago now, and I got the Vivity lens, the Alcon Vivity lens, and I made a few videos which some of you seem to appreciate and enjoy. So I just wanted to post an update video and also maybe cover a few things that I might have missed talking about before. I guess now that I've had the lens for some time and have been living with my new eyes, so to speak, for a fair while, I have been able to, or I've discovered, I think what I think are probably some minor shortcomings. Um, if we want to look at the things that I might say that I have trouble with, I have noticed. I have noticed some contrast issues. I had previously said that I didn't have any contrast issues, but as time passes, you become more aware of some of these things. So um, I do notice at night, if I'm watching the television, my TV is probably about 4 or 5 meters away from me. If there is text on the screen, sometimes I struggle to read it because we're in low light in the lounge room where we watch TV. I don't notice it at all during the daytime, but at night, particularly if it's not a high definition video stream that I'm looking at, the text can become a little bit unclear. Um, it when I wear the glasses that I was prescribed that take away the astigmatism, doesn't really improve it that much. So I I can only assume it must be some type of it's a contrast issue. The other time that I've noticed that I have had some issues is we were at a stadium at the Royal Easter Show, the Sydney Royal Easter Show, watching the evening entertainment at a stadium. The floodlights that they had lighting the stadium up were actually quite low and in your face, and it. I then was struggling to see really clearly across the opposite side of the arena. I could still see fine, but it wasn't as razor sharp as I've become used to. We were at a football game last week, and I could still. The lights there are much higher, even though that was a night that was in. It was actually quite overcast then, but I could see perfectly all the players on the other side of the field. I could make out individual players. Um, it's always a litmus test when you're at that sort of event. If you're looking at the video replay screen all the time when you're supposed to be watching the live action, then you know you've got a problem with your vision. But that wasn't the case. I was able to see perfectly over the other side of the arena, over the other side of the field, and follow all the action just watching it normally rather than watching the replay screen. One other issue that I have had was we when we were up in Cairns at the end of last year, they've got some of these new, what looks like new style traffic lights new style LED lights, and they had massive halos around them for me. They were actually quite, the halos were quite pronounced, but I think my wife was having some trouble seeing that, and she just has normal glasses, so maybe it's not entirely due to the lens that I've had implanted in my eye. Anyway, most of 99% of the time I have what I would class as being just absolutely razor sharp, crystal clear vision. So there were some people that also asked a few questions about, particularly about close up. So I thought I'd just do a little bit of a demonstration to show you what I can and can't see close up. So you can probably see this. See, you can see my this is an Apple Watch. There's some text on the screen there. This is actually text showing the spot prices of gold and silver, and the market's closed, so it's actually all grayed out. I find that I can read that perfectly if I'm in good light. If I'm in bed in the morning and I check that screen, I just can't see it. But also all the other notifications and things I get on my Apple Watch, which are actually quite small, I have no problem reading them. If I'm in the darkness, say in bed early in the morning, our room's pretty dark, then I do have issues reading it if there isn't adequate light. So adequate light is pretty important. But at the moment, I can read everything on that without any problem. That's pretty small text. I can also see down the bottom here the copyright warning on this DVD or this Blu-ray disc. I can read that without any problem. Again, as long as I'm in adequate light. I have a Bible here. It's a large print Bible. I can read this perfectly. Even if I don't turn the lights on in my office, I can read it perfectly. Obviously, I prefer to use lights. Just makes it easier. But I can read perfectly. Also, these are Cat5 RG45 cables. I can wire this cable up without any problem, without wearing glasses. So I still never wear glasses. I do have sunglasses that are prescription sunglasses, so I wear them, but only because I'm trying to block out the sunlight, and they're polarized, and so I do wear glasses when I'm out driving, but not because I need help with my vision. So I hope that helps you with what I can actually see. Particularly people are asking about fine work. I don't think you can get much finer than wiring these plugs up. If you've never seen it done, these cables, you've got to separate all these wires, put them in a certain order, and then push them into the connector, and then you crimp the connector. But I can do that without any problem. Also, some people made some comments that they had less than brilliant results. Some of them had pretty ordinary results. Everything was still fuzzy. One of them went and got LASIK surgery to correct that. That was the optometrist's answer to fixing his vision. The optometrists or the ophthalmic surgeon said that the implant had moved in his eye since it was implanted, and they took the option to actually do LASIK rather than correct the placement of the IOL. I don't know how long it had been post-surgery. Someone else commented on one of my videos that they had exactly the same issue. They had a lens that basically moved after it was implanted. Their surgeon did actually move that lens into the correct position, and they were able to see a lot better. I guess the thing is, it's still possible when the ophthalmic surgeon, or when they're measuring up your eyes to determine what implant to put in your eye, they can always make a mistake. Things can happen post, in the surgery as well, where it doesn't end up in the exact right position, or I had a slight. I was a little bit concerned, I must admit, because when they were measuring my eyes up when I was in my initial consults before I had my eye done, they told me that I had quite a dry eye in one of my eyes, and they put drops in it to lubricate it so they could do the measurements properly. And my eyes also, I need to, they're actually quite closed. My eyes don't open up that wide, it seems, so they're holding one of my eyes open, and they put drops in it to because my eyes were quite dry. That's actually a bit of a concern. If you've got dry eyes when you're getting your measurements done, that can actually affect the calculations that they do to calculate exactly what lens to put in there. But anyway, all my fears from that point of view were unfounded, because I ended up with an excellent result. I don't really can't see how the result of my surgery could have been any better at all. So that's all really good. I should also point out that I'm not an eye surgeon. I have no links to Alcon or anything like that. I have been accused of being a shill for Alcon, but I'm not on their payroll. I actually am an IT. I do IT work. Previously, I worked for a GPS company, so I've got no links, financial or otherwise, to Alcon or any other lens maker for that matter. I'm just really impressed with the lens that I've got, and I do struggle sometimes to understand why more surgeons don't actually recommend doing the blended vision approach like I have. So in fact, I have seen a couple of videos online where the surgeons do take that approach, and they're just amazed by the results they get. Anyway, just wanted to point that out. Also, I didn't actually say originally, but I was on 3 different types of eye drops. I was on Predneferin Forte eye drops, which I think that's a steroid. I was on the Chlorsig eye drops, which is a antibiotic, I think, and also I was on Acular. So it was 3 different drops that I was taking, and I had to take them 4 times a day. 3 drops 4 times a day until they ran out. That was the worst part of the whole surgery. Doing those eye drops, they drive you mad. Doing all those eye drops, and because you've got to have a gap between them as well when you put them in. So anyway, that's all good. I also thought some people might have been curious to know how much it actually cost. The total cost of my surgery for the cataracts, total fees, everything, including all the initial consultation and everything, in Australian dollars was $9,983. That's how much it was for both eyes. Of that, the Medicare rebate that we get here in Australia, I got $1,711 back from Medicare. I got $3,615 back from my health fund, and I'll explain about that in a minute. So my total out-of-pocket expense for both eyes was $4,656. That's how much I actually had to pay out of my pocket. My health fund, I wasn't actually covered for cataract surgery with my health fund. My cover wasn't high enough. The hospital cover wasn't high enough. And I told the hospital that when I booked in for my surgery. But when they checked with the health fund said no, I was fully covered. So because of that, the health fund decided to honour that, and they actually paid the hospital cost for that first surgery for my right eye, and I just had to pay for the left eye. So just as a matter of interest as well, I think the invoice that I got from the I have to check this now. The invoice that I got from the hospital for the first surgery, there was not that much difference in cost between, and with the first one they didn't when they did the invoice for me, which I didn't have to pay. It didn't include the lens that they quoted me for was just a standard monofocal lens, and the cost of that was $256 in that in the amount, whereas the cost for the IQ for the Vivity was $934. So it's a bit of a premium for having the Vivity over the monofocal lens, which I personally think was well worth it. I've got the toric, obviously the toric lens. It's a slightly tinted one, slightly yellow tinted, which I I don't notice the tint at all. But it's not that much of a premium to get that premium lens in Australia, it seems. So yeah, that's how much it costs. So I hope this follow-up video has been helpful to you. Let me know in the comments. Thanks. Bye.